Help keep the show on the air. If you want to help, you can send your donation through PayPal. The email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com or through Cash App, $Sal Showtime. Thanks for your support.
Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by individuals on this platform, the callers plus invited guests, are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with this brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Don't touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio.
All right, for sure, most def. Thank you, Sal, and I appreciate Sister Reese and the other Sister Jennifer for being here, and hopefully the other brothers and sisters will tap in as the call goes. The reason why I decided to come up with this topic, because the term consciousness, I believe it's used very loosely. People just assume since you are conscious, you're just automatically righteous. There was an individual on this platform that said, maybe about a year ago, consciousness does not make you righteous. And that stood out to me, and I kind of held on to that for a while. And I see the term consciousness used on social media, and automatically people get this pass. It just seems that if you're conscious, you're just pretty much you're just blameless, you're stainless. And it's one thing to know something, but just because you're aware of something, like I said earlier, that does not make you right. And I used the example a while back. I said a person could be a diabetic, but can still, and know they're a diabetic, but at the same time can consume a bad diet. So does consciousness, does it give you a green light to, does it make you, I mean, it makes you aware, but does it, how would I explain, how would I word it? Does consciousness, being conscious of something or having consciousness, does that automatically give you a green light to be superb or superior to the next person, or to be better than or to be on a level beyond? So I just want to ask the individuals on the call today, when you hear the word consciousness, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you, rather? Number 4 back. Hello?
Yeah, everybody's still here. I guess you gotta,
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was going to go ahead and chime in. I was going to say I didn't want to be the first person to talk because it just seemed kind of obvious that I would be the first person to say something about this topic. But I think it's worth defining the word in any case where you're talking about consciousness, because like many other words in our language, certain things have multiple definitions depending on the context that you're using the word in. And so, in the context where I'm talking about spirituality and about righteousness, to me, consciousness means simply awareness. And there are different levels to that. Some people are more or less aware than others. And for that reason, I think it's definitely not a reason for any person to look at themselves as being superior or even inferior because of whatever level of consciousness they're on. Because consciousness is one thing, righteousness is another thing, and also mastery is another thing. I think the only person or the only type of person that might want to have, just a little bit of some bragging rights as far as consciousness is concerned is a person that has become a master of themselves, and they've learned how to tap into their supernatural or superhuman abilities because of their conscious discipline. Now, start getting into advanced consciousness levels or advanced levels of awareness, and you can, master yourself. So, like I said, it really depends on definition and what we're talking about and in what context.
Good point. That's a very good point, and I appreciate your words, sister. And the next sister, you can go right ahead and expound and share your thoughts.
Hi, this is Jennifer. I did want to expand on that. The level of consciousness. The first thing that comes to mind is, someone who's able to become educated. They educated themselves about something, a topic or something that happened. And when I think of consciousness, I think of, someone sharing their knowledge with others, because normally who wants to keep all that consciousness inside? I think of when someone's conscious, they're more spreading their knowledge with others, so they can awaken others around them. As far as being selfish and feeling like they're superior, I don't agree with that, because it's like you can't really do much with that. It's just like an ego. Like you found out information that others don't have, and you just keep it to yourself, and then you acting high and mighty. I really don't agree with that type of character, but you're conscious and you're just spreading it and letting everybody else know. That's something that I agree with. So yeah, that was pretty much my take on that topic.
Me personally, and thank you, sister, I appreciate that. Me personally, for those who know me and for those who don't know me, I've been in the Hebrew Israelite world, and the thing is that they may not use the word conscious or consciousness, but you can tell that they make it that it's common for the Hebrew Israelite to say that they're aware of who they are and they're aware of the society that they're in. So now, when that's being brought into play or when that's being brought out, automatically people will assume that the individual who's claiming to be an Israelite or who's claiming to be of another denomination or some type of ideology, rather it be Kemet and the various pro-black schools of thought, the word consciousness is used as if these people are superior or these people are better than the average layman. And consciousness is only good if you're acting, if you're showing that, okay, you know this, and if I want to display that I'm conscious of this situation or whatever or what have you, my actions will show. So I just want to bring it out. So will everybody agree with me? So does everyone agree with me so far, just with the statement I just made? Anybody? Okay.
My bad. I was on mute. I was trying to ask if you were saying that, if you were asking if we agree that the phrase you were saying where consciousness is like a what was the statement you just said? What was the word you just used? Is consciousness is awareness?
Awareness, yes. And to show in the,
is that how you said it? Actions.
Well, I would say
actions.
Actions, yeah. And a person's actions will a person's actions will show if they're really conscious. I mean, consciousness you can say you know something. You can say you're aware of living in America. You can say that you are aware the food is contaminated, and you say that, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to live a certain way, I have to. Okay, we're aware of that. Your actions will actually will most definitely point out, will stand out to the next person or just to you as an individual. The actions is what counts. That's my point overall.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
I would agree with that.
Most definitely. So when we hear that word, and it's used. I mean, we know it's used in the black community on social media. Why is it that consciousness has become what I see, and this is just, I'm not picking on anyone in particularly, this is just what I see from an overall perspective when it comes to our people. it seems to me that consciousness has become a entertainment gimmick. So, is that truly what consciousness is? Because, like, I think one of the sisters said that consciousness it has so many different definitions. We know that it means to be aware. Some people will add the definition to make themselves superior because they have some type of knowledge or they've read a certain amount of books. And since they've read a certain amount of books, they have elevated themselves on some type of plane to be better than the next person. So I would say, damn, I lost my train of thought. I apologize for that. So I would say overall, why is it that consciousness is turned into entertainment from when we see it all over social media? Anybody would like to speak on that, or any questions, comments, or observations? Go ahead.
Yes. So you said consciousness on social media has become entertainment, and is it because like the memes, or is that part of what you mean when you says consciousness is becoming entertaining on social media? Because
yes,
the way I
because
look at
we hear. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because the way I look at it is, whether knowledge come from a funny place, a place of seriousness, a place of sternness, through social media, through face-to-face contact, through books, just through interaction. I believe it's still consciousness. However, it's still getting the message is still getting delivered. I live by a philosophy is you just plant that seed. So once you speak of something, anything in that is considered more conscious, like healthy eating, if you just either speak on it to others or you just live it or you do it within yourself and people are watching you on the platform, and some people might take it as, oh, she thinks she's better than somebody. Because, look, she decided to pick up, put down the dead animals and pick up more fruits and vegetables and, research sea moss and, things like that. It's like maybe someone's perception can be that or the messenger's message is being perceived as they're better than someone else, or they're just, I don't know. But I guess it's more of a perception, because when I'm on social media and when I see these type of memes and I see people post different things, that's like the form of educating me, because it's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. One day I clicked on Facebook and somebody post something, and then I just research it and see if it's true, and hey, it comes out to be true. But it's on a meme, and it's like, I guess what I'm saying is it's just, I don't know. I don't see like the negative in the consciousness of people, and even if it is somebody negative, just remove yourself from them. Like, you don't have to be subject to someone's ignorance or someone's not so kind behavior, actions. I just say, you're not a tree, walk away, or delete them, or remove yourself. There's solutions to it. But as far as when someone's sharing knowledge, I'm here. I'm all for it. Whether it's, in a nice way, in a way I agree with or I don't agree with, I still believe they planted that seed. Eventually, in the future, someone will, remember what that person said or did to, connect the different dots in life. Yeah, thank you.
And BA, just to let you know, BA, we have Zsa Zsa's here. Zsa Zsa, welcome to the program.
Hello. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Greetings. Well, my opinion about this is that, it's like, I guess, the sisters are like, everybody has their opinion, and a lot of those opinions are facts. It's kind of like I don't know. I'm kind of like a little bit stuck in that with the subject, but a lot of us are kind of stuck in our own ways and so forth, and we allow ourselves to be and how can I explain this? We allow ourselves to be we're pretty much not conscious of what we're doing because we're allowing something else to take over. Kind of like I'm not going to lie, Facebook is one. being in, being like that and looking, and just like the other sister said, trying to overdo somebody else or so forth. I suppose. I don't know if I'm off or I don't know, but I'm sorry.
I wanted to add to that. I'm sorry.
Yes, we allow ourselves to. This is Zsa Zsa. This is Zsa Zsa, sister. Can you hear me?
Oh, I thought you were done.
Clear.
I'm sorry.
You're loud and clear. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, so I mean that's just about it. How I perceive this, and sometimes I have to be like, whoa, because pride can take over you, and that's not good to be prideful in any kind of way, whether it's your own religious belief or whatever it is, because now it's like, just because you have knowledge, it doesn't mean that you have to sit up and step all over the other person, but that's pride, and it does take over some people. It's a lot of movement going on, and I mean, it's like I just look and I'm like, sometimes I don't like to be too opinionated, but I like to just step back sometimes. It's a lot going on, and we're not looking at what the real problem is. There's a lot of things going on in our world today, in our own neighborhoods, in our own societies, in our own little next door neighbors. You don't know what they're going through, but we're so into again, social media, that we don't know what the next person is needing. They might be right in our face crying, needing something.
And that's one thing about social media. You don't actually know, because through the avatar, we can pretend, or we can actually be, people can pretend behind the avatar. I say this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So is social media more so of a blessing, or is it more so of a curse?
Be both. It could be both, because on social media, I'm not going to lie to you, I've learned so much on social media versus, and I'm going to speak in a religious belief versus me going to church every Sunday. I've learned more, and I was able, and I'm not going to lie, that's how I was, able to meet most of you all, is on social media, speak to y'all, and it's been a blessing. However, it's the people that we connect with that they could be, of course, agents. They could be somebody that, of course, agents and all of the whole deal. But there's some people that are actually, they're actually working our nerves. We could be talking to anybody. That's why I don't trust people on social media. I have my picks now. And you got to be a little discerned as well to know, hey, this ain't right. You better delete this person. So it could be both. It could be a little of both. That's the truth. It's a blessing that I came across y'all.
Most definitely. I've met everybody on this platform through social media, and I've had the privilege to build with a few, and to actually get to know them and have some deep conversations as well, and get the chance to fill them out on a personal perspective, from a personal perspective rather. So, but Sister Reese, well, you're about to comment a little earlier. If there's anything you would like to say, sister, go right ahead. You know how I do things. We can organically speak. We're human beings here, so you go right ahead.
Yeah. I tried. I think I just lost my, connection, but I did want to say about, really, there are a lot of things going on with the sort of feeling better than somebody, or having this image where conscious people try to portray themselves as being better. The thing about that is that it doesn't seem like it's only conscious people. From my perspective, you can see instances of that in any institutionalized practice. If it's institutionalized, especially, you'll see instances of that, where people who hold higher levels of knowledge, or they are perceived to hold higher levels of knowledge. They are seen as being intrinsically better than people who don't have, or people who are not perceived to have that much knowledge. And I think in, let's say, recent times, Hebrew Israelites started this sort of debate culture where we're going around and we're debating one another about facts, and as soon as one person has more facts than another person, instead of it being a teaching moment, it becomes a bullying moment or a bashing moment where the Hebrew or whoever is determined to have more facts than the other person in this debate battle. These two brothers are not building with each other. It's almost like they're battle rapping against each other like elementary school children. And they are intentionally there to try to tear each other down. Their goal is, even when they're going into the debate, they'll say, I'm about to tear him up. I'm getting ready to, show him this. I'm getting ready to eat these people up. Let them, have a business. And it's like, is that the spirit of how we're building our knowledge with each other? Is that we're debating facts? And I really think that that's where the pompous sort of attitude and character comes from, and the pride comes from. Because in true westernized, Europeanized fashion, you have Negroes who are whitewashed in their brains, and they cannot look at their brother as their partner. They have to look at their brother as their enemy, because that's how they've been conditioned to do. So even when they have an opportunity to build, they'd rather make it an opportunity to battle. They'd rather make it an opportunity to fight. They'd rather make it an opportunity to oppose. And, I think that's where that attitude comes from, is I'm better than you. I have this high horse, or I am this higher class of intellect than you might be, because I'm still Europeanized in my mind. I can't see past you being my enemy. I can't see you as my friend. I can't see you as my ally. So I have to battle you. I have to fight you. In everything that we do, I have to be better, or you have to show yourself to be better than me, and we're going to continuously stay in competition mode, because to divide and conquer is the reason why those people have been able to succeed over us. They've consistently been able to force us into that position where we're looking at each other as opposition. And they know that. They know that we do that willingly now. They don't even have to try to divide and conquer us anymore, because we do it automatically. It's synthesized now.
Yeah, it becomes natural, like a baby sucking on bottles.
It's always a competition. It's always a competition. Who has the most drip? Who has the hottest lyrics? Who has the flyest clothes? Who has the most exclusive car? Who has the most exclusive jewelry? Blah, 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 blah.
Sis, and one thing about the so-called pro-black school of thought, from an overall perspective, I'm just speaking in general, we always push this, that we don't want to be like the European. We don't want to be like the white man. But as you can see, our behavior acts just like the European imperialists. And you just spoke on it.
Mm-hmm. By design. By design.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So, and you see that this behavior, brothers will use that word conscious. I'm conscious. Nah. You've turned consciousness, or whatever the way you defy this term, you made it an entertainment gimmick. You made it to where now all of a sudden, whatever type of knowledge that you hold on to, that you want to edify people with, it's not even about edifying no more. It's about cutting somebody up. It's not even about influencing people to live righteous. It's not even provoking somebody to wake up and eat right, or kick the habit of gluttony, kick the habit of heroin, alcoholism, and the various other diseases that our people are plagued with in this society today. But everybody talks about how righteous and how pure they are behind the avatar.
That's true. I can't stand that. I had a conversation with a Hebrew Israelite brother on my live one day, and he was doing that dog and pony show with me, and I just couldn't take it. I was just like, sir, there's no way you're going to sit here and try to tell me that you're keeping the law perfectly. And I was like, I can look at you and tell that you don't keep the law perfectly. And we had this whole long back and forth with each other. I tried to keep it all in love, but the guy was just being so ridiculous. He was being so ridiculous, trying to make it seem like he was perfect. And I was like, you got to get out of here with that nonsense. Because all you're going to do is point your fingers at your brothers and sisters, trying to tell them how they should be living their lives. When, like I said, I can visually look at you and see that you're not keeping those laws the way you're trying to enforce that expectation onto other people around you. And you're the biggest hypocrite I've ever seen in my life. I was just like, I'm ready to end the interview, end the conversation.
All right, BA, just to let you know, we have Vinny D here. He's here as well. Continue, though.
My man, Vinny D. What's the word, bro? Go ahead and introduce yourself. That's my man's right there. Go do your thing, all right.
Hey, peace, everybody. Sister Reese, Brother BA, Brother Sal, and I don't know who else on the panel, maybe Sister Jennifer and everybody else. And just listening, and I'm kind of got my kids settling them down, so they running around kind of loud right now. controlling the narrative. But yeah, I'm just listening to y'all, man. It's y'all, I'm trying to feel my way into the conversation, but from what I hear, about we got a lot of negative competition between each other, and then also that we're adopting the traits of people that we say that we're trying to separate from. You know what I mean? And it's the cold part about it is we don't even really notice that that's what we do. It's just become like a second part of nature, And I think we definitely need to get away from that, But and just dealing with the topic tonight, man. I think that's a pretty good one, a pretty good topic, because everybody's conscious on paper, It's like that prospect quarterback that's coming out of college, He got everything lined up on paper, but then when the game time hits and it's time to play the game, then you know what I'm saying, he just flame out, He don't even make it through the whole season. He end up on the bench behind somebody else who wasn't even fitting the criteria of what a good quarterback is, or a good player, I should say, But that's I see a lot of that going on. I try to steer clear of that, and I think that's what we do, man. We say we talk a good game, but then our game don't match our actions. Exactly. And Brother BA, every time I hear you speak or I talk to you, man, you always emphasizing the actions, and that, and in all honesty, that's what the whole Bible is about. It's about actions, and our actions just ain't lining up what we claiming to be, or the persona that we pushing, So, I'll yield after that. I gotta finish getting my kids ready with the food and settle down. So, but I'll yield and I'll chime in a little bit.
No, it's all good, Vinny, man. Just tap back in when you can, man. I can relate. Me and you, we live in a similar lifestyle, man. Raising the kids up to the best of our ability. So, brother, it's all good, man. But I appreciate your words.
Right on.
All right, just to let you know, we do have a caller standing by, and for those that are not familiar, you can call in if you have any questions or comments. The number is 319-527-6239. Once you finish dialing the number, simply press number 1, and you can let your voice be heard live on the air. Again, the topic is consciousness in the social media age. Whenever you're ready, BA, we can take that caller. It's up to you. Go ahead.
Okay, let me just ask the sisters or anyone on the panel who would like to just add anything. We will go any further. Any of the sisters, you can, there's anything else that you feel like it needs to be expounded on, the floor is yours. You know what I mean? I like to have organic conversations, and again, we're all human beings here. I don't have this thing about you can't speak. No, I'm not. I don't have no. There's nothing spooky about me. I'm a human being at the end of the day. So please, if anyone has something to say that has been left out, or they feel that needs to be added to the conversation, or maybe go another slight direction, and the next talking point, feel free.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing. I don't know if I could be heard, but now when I say these things, I don't mean to come down on people who, are our brothers, our sisters who talk about, the good game on social media, because one good thing is coming out of it is that we're actually talking about it, and it shows that like our mind is going in the right direction. But I think that we should all challenge each other on if we are, living up to the things that we talk about. You know what I'm saying? But I think so. It's kind of a double-edged sword, and it could be good or bad depending on which way we swing that sword. But yeah, I'll yield on that. I just wanted to point that out, so it doesn't seem like I'm bashing on our brothers who got the right intention, but it's just not adding up. Because I know we can all get. I can speak for myself. It's easy to get sucked into like the debates online, and you feel like you've been wrong. So I understand how you can get caught up in that, but but go ahead. I yield. Go.
Accountability. Hold each other accountable. You know what I'm saying? Provoke each other. Look out for each other. Influence each other. Build up each other. Encourage each other. For those who do know me, I've told Sister Reese in the past, I tell her all the time, Sister Reese, there's something I've said, or if you notice BA slipping, I would appreciate if you just let me know, correct me. I have no issue with being corrected. I've said this to Sal. I've said this to Vinny D. I've said this to Brother Josh, Zadok, and various other brothers and sisters who know me personally. If there's something that I have done wrong or said something, or if you notice I'm walking contrary to my message, please, by all means, correct me. I have no issue with constructive criticism because it brings you back to reality and it reminds you that you are a human being, and I don't care how many books or scriptures you can quote. But with that being said, will anybody else have any questions or comments, observations?
I don't know. I think that our people really should just do our best as individuals to focus on ourselves, focus on our individual growth, focus on our individual healing, and focus on, just simply becoming better at that self-mastery that I was talking about, because I think that's the only way we'll be able to see in real truth that there is no better than the other. It's just I'm in my own lane and I'm great at doing me. I don't necessarily need to compare myself to another. I don't need to compete with another, because I can't compete with somebody else at being me. I can't compete with them at being them. So, when I realized my focus and my main drive and motivation is to make myself better and to become a master of my own ability, then I don't even have the room to focus on what everybody else in their life is doing, because whether or not they're focused on their own self-mastery has nothing to do with the quality of life that I'm living or building for myself and my family. So I have to make sure that the competition is with myself. If I'm going to compete with anybody, I'm going to compete with my yesterday self. I'm going to compete with the person who I was yesterday, because today my goal is to be better than her. not to be better than the woman next to me, but to simply just be better than myself. And I really honestly believe that if our people would get that in focus, we, across the board, would not have to worry about this crab in the bucket mentality where everything is a competition, everything has to drag the other person, everything has to be in opposition to the other person. It's always got to be that energy, that negative energy. And, if we do that, I feel like we can just immediately heal that problem.
That's facts.
And just to let you know, BA, sorry for the interruption. We do have Sheek here. Sheek is here as well. And we have 2 callers standing by whenever you're ready, though.
All right, Sister Sheek, how you doing, young lady? It's been a minute. If there's anything you would like to say, Sister, love, you go right ahead. You go ahead and introduce yourself, do your thing.
Hey, Brother BA. Yeah, I've been listening, and, when we talk about conscious, it's like conscious to what? Are you conscious to everything or every system or everything? I think in the Black community, when it's used conscious, it's conscious to some area, but not you cannot possibly be conscious to everything. And so now you have people quizzing you on, are you conscious to what I know? And if you're not conscious to that, you're not conscious at all. And then it becomes a conscious competition, And so there's a community. Now Hebrews are a part of the conscious community because we have become conscious of something, but I don't know. A lot of the times, the other conscious people in the community tend to say, if you believe in that Bible, if you're not dropping that Bible, you're not conscious, and it becomes a qualification that really has no merit, because then you have to deal with these so-called unconscious people on different things that you don't know about, So I think conscious is a relative and subjective term. A lot of times when I deal with people who call themselves part of the conscious or subconscious community, they are really, I deem them unconscious, unconscious to the fact of their limitations. We have to realize that though we may be conscious to some things or one thing very well, we're not conscious to everything. We may have something to learn. And even though we may disagree on what we're conscious about, there's more than one reality. It wasn't just the Hebrew who the Egyptian lived to, the Ethiopian lived to. So we don't have to pick one or the other. And so, we need to learn how to walk and chew gum at the same time and do better when we try to classify what is conscious, what is not, and who is conscious about what. So that's my 2 cents, but I've been enjoying the conversation so far. So.
And thank you, Sister Sheek. Appreciate your words. Most definitely, there's some things that stood out, what you said. Sister Zsa Zsa or Sister Jennifer, any questions or comments or observations before we go to the callers?
Nope. Not by me, sir. This is Zsa Zsa.
Okay. And Jennifer, she had to go.
Oh.
Jennifer had to go. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, I do.
All right.
Hey, BA.
Go ahead, brother.
I got one thing to add. Sorry, man, but I saw this post online. I thought it was relevant. It said, when I becomes we, even illness becomes wellness. And I'm hold on that.
Repeat that again, Art.
Yeah, when I is replaced with we, even illness becomes wellness.
I like that, man. You got to share that. You got to tap in with me on that one, most definitely. But
definitely.
Yo, Sal, let's tap into the callers.
All right, so we're going to the phone lines, and if you're new to the program, there is no foul language. You got to keep it clean. Well, let's go to the phone lines. The number is 319-527-6239. Simply press number 1, and that lets you know you have a question or a comment for everybody on the panel. Let's go to 919. You're live.
Shalom. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're live. What's going on, man?
My name's Shaul Yisrael. I'm enjoying the conversation. My assessment is the problem with the Israelite community is they haven't heard the true gospel of our King Yeshua HaMashiach. And for that cause, there exists a lack of uniformity, a lack of doctrinal integrity, and a lack of practical application. It all stems from hearing and receiving the true gospel of our King Yeshua HaMashiach. It all begins and ends with hearing and receiving the true gospel. Because of what is being promulgated in the Israelite community is false gospels. As our beloved brother Shaul of Tarsus instructs us, if any man preach another gospel, let him be accursed. So a lot of false gospels is being promoted in the Israelite community. That's my take.
Right on, bro.
I have to say.
Go right ahead, sis. It's all good. Do you think?
Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to say I totally agree with that. I really think that false gospel is a really, really, really big problem in the Hebrew Israelite community because it's almost entirely based on a misinterpretation of the scripture. Almost entirely, the Hebrew Israelite culture, the way that they believe, the way that they practice, the way that they are even spreading the gospel of the scriptures, it's a complete misinterpretation. A complete misinterpretation is grossly, it's just grossly overstated. And it's terrible because the way things should be working with the spreading of the gospel is supposed to be an organic type of, growth where people are understanding the gospel deeply. But because the Hebrew Israelites have this tendency to really take the scripture very literally and very superficially, it just becomes very watered down and useless, really, when you take away so much of the meat that comes with the scripture. And, it's just a super tragedy to me because I'm a scripture person. I study scripture, and I've been, in an environment where there was an appreciation for the depth of the scripture, where it is really seriously going into metaphysical and scientific sort of meaning. But, when the Hebrew Israelites get a hold of it, there is no scientific meaning, there is no historical meaning, there's more historical meaning, but there's less metaphysical meaning, and there's less to actually take from the scripture in wisdom, rather than them just misconstruing what the meat of the scripture was about, because they're not in the proper context. They're taking it too literally instead of applying the metaphysical, instead of embodying the principles. It's just, it's like I said, it's just like a gross mishandling of the scriptures, and it's a tragedy to see.
Thank you, Sister Reese. Appreciate your words on that one. Most definitely, some points that are brought out that you shared that do stand out. And Sal, anybody, before we go to the next call, anybody else have anything to say?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Hello?
Go right ahead.
Oh, okay. I do. I think a lot of times the Hebrew community is summed up to what you see. But we have people who are in real life congregations who congregate, who are not like all out in the public and stuff like that, who do not make YouTube videos, you know, who are not trying to be so marketed and stuff, and just doing the will of Yah in the presence of who has been brought to them. And that's really most of the community. That's what we see globally. You know, that's what people are doing. People are congregating in people's homes. People are congregating, you know, together in some sort of way. I have a brother where we just congregate online sometimes with our children, a sister too, our children and everything, study the word, sing hymns, you know, but we don't see that because that's not on YouTube. So we cannot sum up the community based off of what we see on YouTube or what we see online, because a lot of the good stuff is not happening online. It's happening in private. Now, as far as the community, you know, never getting to metaphysical, I think that there is a portion of the community that gets to metaphysical. And so I had to defend that against some conscious people, you know, to the stance that Yeshua is Yahuwah, right? And so when I defended it and I said, no, we don't believe that flesh and blood is the Most High. He is the Spirit. We believe the Spirit of Yeshua is the Most High, okay? And they say, oh, well, you say that, but they don't say that. But then when we defended, when I defended that, I said, what does everybody say when we talk about Christ dying on the cross? Well, God's not supposed to die. Well, his flesh died, not his spirit, and God is a spirit. So this is the argument, you know. And then when I brought that up, it was like, no, they're just saying, you know. And I'm like, no, but that argument is always used. So we do understand that we need to put on our Christ, and we need to get to that level. If we could not, why would there have been an example, right? So I think it's just who you talk to in the circles that you're around on whether the metaphysical is accepted or understood. And even the history is brought through a lens, the same way that Egyptian history is brought through a lens of a culture, of a people. It's not all factual. You can't say that everything you're getting about one culture must be correct, but another culture must be made up in fairy tales. The victor tells the story, and in our conscious world, there are several stories being told, and that is just what should be. Because if we look at American history, our story would look very different to what America would say, you know, the values and the core values in the ways, the norms of society are. So we need to also keep that in mind. And so that's my 2 cents. I yield.
Thank you, Sister Sheek. Thank you, beloved. We appreciate your words. And Sal, let's get to that next caller. Yo, my man Sal. Yo, anybody?
Reese is on the line still. I don't know about everybody else.
This is Reese?
Yeah.
You know what?
I'm here too.
Sal's probably, yeah, Sal's probably having.
My fault. Just to let you know, we got Orthodox Moor is here. So I was talking to Orthodox Moor behind the scenes. He's here though. Say hello.
Yeah, my apologies for my tardiness, family.
Oh, it's all good, Moore. I'm glad you can make it. What we'll do, we'll let the next caller come in, and and we'll let Brother Moore get a few words based on what he's heard. So let's get the other caller real quick, and I'll go from there.
All right, family, we still got time. It's almost 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time over here. We've got more show for you guys. The number is 319-527-6239. Press number 1 if you want to chime in. Let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 864. You are live. 864. Can you hear me? 864. Are you there? All right, 864. Going once.
Hello? Hello?
Hey, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on? How you doing?
Okay, my family, I think I had the phone muted, but how's everybody? Peace.
All right, doing pretty
hey,
good.
Peace, how you doing?
Greetings, brother. Greetings to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Equani, and definitely I have been one that has benefited from some of the conscious discussion. I think even when you guys were talking about debates earlier, because I myself come from the church. I was, born and raised in the church, and I went devoted Christian for a long time. And I think the place of consciousness for me, and I know there's a quote unquote conscious community now that sometimes can carry a warped or skewed definition on what consciousness is and what that means to us as Black or African people.
Yeah, I'll get you a
but I think consciousness simply means or equates to being aware, right? Being aware. And I think even when we're talking about someone can be financially conscious, aware to their finances. A lot of people are aware to things that happen on the outside of their house more so than they are to their own, being. And I think for me, the consciousness led me to want to ask questions on my being, who I was connected to. You understand? Even because I didn't go by the Bible. I know a lot of people that go by the Bible, but there was a scripture that hit me in the head that said, they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So there's a lot of questions that need to be asked that aren't being asked because people are so indoctrinated. And I was there. You're just so caught up in the dogma of the day. You better not question God and these things. But in the reality, in the essence of things, is that we should know more about ourselves and our connection to the Creator. A lot of people, even in the Christianity, there are plenty of denominations. You understand? There's one Bible, but then you got like 100 different people that can be beefing and going against each other coming from this one word. And, broken down even in religion, where you would have a family, but in that family you could have 3 or 4 different religions. We're all in different. But to me, consciousness means being aware of who we organically are. Who we organically are. And I know for a long time when I was in the church, being, talking about, I want to pick up my own lineage and my connection to the Creator. I can't go off what somebody else's connection to the Creator is. Even, there's one thing when I remember going to the church and going in communion, right? And I'm eating the body of Christ and drinking the blood, and at the back, I see a white man. And the more that I got out, I understood who Caesar Borgia was, who that image was actually fastened after. The popular image, if we go, and I told my children, if they go to Google right now and type in Jesus, you're not going to have the quote-unquote Son of Man figure, which is a head of wool, skin of burnt brass or bronze, and the eyes like fire. You don't see that. That's the image that you don't see. So, and when we're talking about picking up and having conversations such as, because like I said, I'm not a Christian, but you brothers and sisters are my family. You understand? I don't need any. I'm not a Muslim, but brothers and sisters, they are my family, and that's what the consciousness aspect allows us to tie back in and understand that, hey, this is your family, regardless of all these social ideas and things that are now popular. We don't want to get separated just because you are wearing one brand and I'm wearing another brand, or because we want to support something that's not organic to our identity in the first place. We've been praying a lot. You know, we got people that done tried the Hebrew Israel, and I'm not mad at anybody. But we, as those same black people, regardless if you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, or if you're atheist, we're still getting killed in the street. We're still having to utilize our resources to go out there and ask the same government that was once hanging us and killing us. You understand? They once did this. We still have to go and beg them to, hey, not kill us. And I think when we evaluating our ability to survive, consciousness must be at the core. And I heard you guys talking about history. If we don't understand our greatness as it relates to our connection to the Creator, you know, our consciousness is doomed. And we'll be at a place where we're fighting amongst our own brothers and sisters rather than building. And that'll only be ego. And ego would be the same thing that we see in the church as the devil or Satan, or inside my culture, we look at it as Sutesh or Satan or Set. You understand? So it's basically like that pole, good versus evil, and it's very important for us to be the ones that are restoring that connection to the broken people, teaching each other how to eat, teaching each other, you know, the importance of doing healthy things. Because I went to church for a long time. Nobody ever taught me how to eat. We prayed a lot, but guess what? At the end of the day, our behind still died from hypertension, from all of these things. It didn't make a difference how many graces you said over. So I think consciousness is a thing that allowed us to say, well, hey, how can I take better care of this vehicle that the Creator gave to me? Because I value this thing. I'm not just going by what somebody else saying. I want to get into it and say, well, hey, why am I so great? You understand? And we are, you know, I know a lot of us and a lot of Christians, we take the humble approach and say, well, hey, we all are the same. We all, and that's how humble that's how great of a people we are. We will stand in the face of a Goliath. We will stand in the face of a Goliath, and then we will say, rather than point out Goliath as being a terrorist, we will still take up for Goliath and say, well, hey, he's not so bad. You know, now it's time to draw the line in the sand and say, well, hey, I'm David, and Goliath has taken this thing, and I want to fight to preserve the integrity of my being is the most important thing, because the Creator bestowed this gift upon us, and if we don't take care of it, guess what? It's due to go to someone else. So I know I'm thankful for what, you know, I've learned in consciousness, even in the church. You know, it was a level of consciousness that had to be made to even extract the good wisdom that comes in the Bible. The good wisdom, I learned wisdom from the Dalai Lama. I learned wisdom from a lot of different, because when you are there and you identify with things that are good for people, it don't make no difference what language you talking. It don't make, I done seen people that say they praise Jesus and then, you know, they fighting with each other rather than bringing food to help each other. So this is a reality. If I tell you, hey, I don't praise Jesus, but rather than stabbing you in the back, I'm going to bring food, and you have a sister over there that's saying that, hey, I believe in Jesus, but she going to stab you in the back, which one would we? And I think that is the thing that is allowing us to utilize consciousness to go beyond places of indoctrination, dogma, in which has been embedded in our lineage via slavery, via white supremacist education. You understand? So that's my 2 cents, and I thank you all for listening to me.
Hey, brother, what's your name again?
My name is Equanese, sir.
My brother, I think I've heard you on here before.
Yes, sir,
speak on this topics. Man, can we exchange information? I'm B.A. Ben Abraham. I don't know if you're on social media or Facebook, but is there any kind of way to me you can exchange information? Because I would love to talk to you some more, my brother.
Oh, absolutely, sir. Yes, sir, brother.
All right. What I can do? Are you on Facebook?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, man. Just look me up, B.A. Ben Abraham, and when you find me, please contact me in the messenger, man, because there's some points you brought out, and I most definitely want to get with you on that. That's my word, man. I promise you.
Okay, yes, sir, man. Thank you guys for having this discussion. You know, it's a very important discussion to be had. And like I said, the fact that you guys are talking about this rather than talking about whose album is out or rather than talking about some other, is the place of consciousness or awareness that I'm proud of, you know, participating in.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate your words. Most definitely.
Amen.
I deeply
Amen.
appreciate your words.
Yeah, much gratitude for your portion, brother, for real.
All right, just to let you know, BA, Reese had to go. She had to take care of some things, but everybody else is still here. Okay.
All right, Brother Moore, man, what's the word? What's good?
Man, yeah, Sal was catching me up a little bit on the side as to what I was talking about, and I dig the topic, man, because what's interesting about the conscious community in social media is that there's not independent conscious community institutions. So, for instance, we use other people's social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like an insulated it's the conscious community on Instagram, conscious community on Twitter, conscious community on Facebook, etc. You know what I'm saying? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we don't have our own platform in terms of the so-called conscious community. You know what I'm saying? And so, I would really like to see some kind of a push. In some kind of organization in terms of establishing some kind of so-called conscious community, social media in and of itself. Not, I mean, because we can talk about like how people are represented on there, right? That's one thing. But another thing is like who's in control of that representation? Because we might not be getting things seen we might not see it our way. We might be getting things presented to us in a certain way. So, for instance, like. We hear things like the so-called Black Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like its own separate entity, but no, it's not, and it literally could be. And people talk about it like it's its own separate entity, you know what I'm saying? And it literally could be. And what will be interesting about that is we could really see what we look like through our eyes versus how the other communities are showing us to ourselves, because these social media platforms are linked up to algorithms that show us things based upon our clicks. And when it comes to us, they don't they're trying to interpret our clicks. It's not us interpreting our clicks. Do you know what I'm saying? So if we set up our own platforms, we could be it'd be the first time we'd be seeing ourselves through our own lens doing the social media construct, and it'd be interesting to see what kind of links we could actually make with each other. Would it bring more division? Would it bring more unity? You know what I'm saying? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just throwing that in the mix right now.
Nah, brother, you can keep going. I mean, if you have it, no, keep going. If you please, if you want to continue, brother, keep going. If there's anything else you want to bring up, I want you to expound more. I mean, because like you came in late, so I want to make sure that you have everything. I'm saying that you want to bring out, because you do bring another perspective to various conversations that we've had on Debate Talk for you, and your opinion I most definitely value. So if there's more, brother, go right ahead.
No, I appreciate that. So there's a lot that I missed. So I'm not commenting right now on what I've heard. I'm commenting on what I've heard outside of this conversation right quick. I'm gonna bring it in right quick. So a lot of things that I've heard is like when I hear about social media and our people, it's typically on some just real ratchet type stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that's what, I don't like hearing that conversation from the outside. And again, this is what I'm saying. Like, so it's these people who are constructing the social media. You know what I'm saying? And then using their algorithms to make it to narrow how we can navigate and narrow what we see on this and whatnot. So our media portrayal in social media is not based upon us. It's based upon how other people see us and put that in the algorithms. You know what I'm saying? So, again, like what so-called white America, what most people understand about us on social media is either world star hip hop or you know what I'm saying, the Black Twitter in quotation marks. You know what I'm saying? And is that a real representation of us, or is that a microcosm blown up to a non-realistic proportion? You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of like so for instance, how many social media groups are we really talking about in comparison of people who are actually doing something in the community. It's not like they're not out there. They're out there. They're out there. It's just the algorithms that the algorithms like. So why don't you see them when you're on the social media? Why don't you see them? Why aren't they being presented to you on Twitter? Why aren't they being presented to you on Facebook? Why aren't they being presented to you on Instagram, etc. Right? Because the algorithms say that it's not important. It's not important for them to show that to you. It's like you feel what I'm saying? Like, so if we become our own Twitter, we become our own social media, whatnot. In that sense, it becomes important to us to link us up with the people doing stuff. Like we want to see that. We're going to pass that around in a lot of different ways. Because it's available right now. It's not even. It's written in the code for it not even to be available to us. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So, instead of, because it seems like when it comes to World Star Hip Hop, that is somebody portraying that this is how the black community operates.
Right.
Somebody else from the outside saying, "Oh, this is how they act," or so like the social media beefs with different social media celebrities. That's the negative approach that our people get on social media. And then you see in the so-called conscious community, where it consists of various people, it seems like the drama and the beef is constantly promoted, and that's what we all see. I've always advocated for various conscious brothers of different schools of thought to teach more. You know what I'm saying? The beef and the gang bang theology and the gang bang of different ideologies, that's okay. I mean, if brothers want to go back and forth and debate and swing the sword and play intellectually swing swords, I get it. I've been a part of that world as myself. I've also done some good and some bad. But we have to get to a point to where we got all these brothers and sisters with all this knowledge and skill and wisdom. When are we going to use all these tools to edify, to change, and make an impact in people's lives, like for real, all outside of, just use social media to actually provoke people to live right. Let's provoke single mothers to live a certain way or to act a certain way, or and things of that nature, single fathers or just the black family to let's have more conversations or more dialogues or more lectures about life insurance and things of that nature to help us get it to advance in life instead of always settling for whatever society has handed to us, like we just said earlier, World Star Hip Hop and the other vices.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is, to answer your question, you said when, like, so if not now, when? If not us, then who? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But the interesting about this is there's a great opportunity for establishing unity off this concept too, like in a very large way. So, for instance, in America, there's a very large Nigerian population, for instance, right? And the Nigerians, when you go to West Africa, they're like the tech wizards of Africa. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they kill it with mathematics, electronics, et cetera, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason why we can't build and interlink with people like them, with like African Americans who are already dealing with Google and Facebook and all these other people, get them out from some, at least a portion from out from their companies, whatnot, and working for us, coding for us, et cetera, whatnot. I know at least 4 people who got fantastic ideas for social media sites. They just don't know how. They don't know how to code or whatnot. It's not their game. They're way behind the 8 ball. They got wives and multiple kids and all kind of stuff, and no, they ain't got time for all that. You know what I'm saying? But we all we got to do is build the framework to where we can actually have those conversations and link people up who have that information and whatnot. Like, information is currency right now. And even if you're broke, if we can share information, we can spend that with each other and we can build off that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm gonna spend a lot of my time here on Debate Talk for you, trying to link people up and trying to build stuff like that, because, like I'm saying, if not now, when? If not us, then who?
Exactly, brother.
Sister,
go ahead, brother.
Oh, I was gonna say, Sister Reese has got something going on like that where she's trying to link up with business owners and connect them with people.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you should holler at Sister Reese. Yeah,
yes,
Sister
sir.
Reese
and
also,
I yield.
Yeah, she also has a I don't know if she's done it recently, but I know me and Reese have talked about it in the past. She has also a program to where she wants to teach young men and women, and from the ages of 12 and up to high school, on how to do research and debate, because research is a skill. So not necessarily have the kids debate, but I mean that's a skill as well. But teach them how to use tools. Teach them how to use encyclopedias and how to use these different sources that can help them go further in life, and actually have and make something of themselves. I believe if we promote this type of conduct, these type of actions, we can go in the right direction. We can most definitely make an impact. But the promoting of the drama and the arguing and the bickering and the foul language and the attacks on other people's families, and that's got to stop. We're going to continuously go nowhere if that is the main thing that's being promoted when it comes to consciousness amongst black people.
Right, and here's my question. So if we were on our own platforms, making our own codes and algorithms or whatnot, would that be the case? Is that only the case now because we're not the ones doing the coding? Because when we jump on these platforms, we're not being shown stuff that's positive for us. We're being navigated to stuff that's negative for us, and we're not every community is being treated that way. And I'm not screaming conspiracy theory. I'm just saying at the very least we should expect that because we don't control the platform.
Well, I agree. And that's what it is. It's because we have allowed ourselves to just settle for this type of culture, this culture of failure. We have allowed it. So, are there things in society? Are there different people in society that may influence, that may play a part in promoting the negativity? Yes, there is. But a good chunk of it is our own fault. Because we want to entertain, we want to feel good, we want to just get even, and we want to get into doing, and more. You have experienced your fair share of that type of behavior with other individuals all over social media yourself. We all have experienced it, whether we have partaken in it or we have drunk in that cup or whatever. However, so now all of a sudden, what is the next step to leave that plague? Because we're plagued with that. So what are the steps to go in the other direction to promote positivity, to help raise up more lawyers and doctors and things of that nature? And social media can be a tool it can be a helpful tool to put a spotlight on going the positive direction, and to have more people donate and get involved and provoke people to do right. Social media can be used for that instead of always used as the negative.
So for me, I always like doing a best practices concept. Like take from here, take from there, get a good salad that tastes fantastic of the best ingredients. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to our people building, I look at like three models. I look at Marcus Garvey, I look at Booker T. Washington, and then I look at Du Bois, W.B. Du Bois. And so I try to take the best out of all their concepts and whatnot. And one thing that I noticed that would be very applicable at this juncture would be the people who W.B. Du Bois identifying as a talented 10th, getting together like Booker T. Washington and building a school or building institutions of like what Reese is talking about, right? Building institutions of learning, like basically finding each other, right? The talented 10 finding each other, right? Which is why I'm saying we need the social media platform of our own, right? Because this is what's keeping us from finding each other. Is the talented 10th is separate right now. If they were together, they would be killing it right now on this whole Booker T. Washington concert where Booker T. Washington made the Tuskegee Institute, where he trained people how to do everything. Everything under the sun. You feel me? Like, what do you want to be? Oh, you want to run? If you want to work in hotels, you can learn how to do everything from top to bottom. You want to learn how to do whatever, like culinary stuff, machinery, mechanics, whatever, like engineering. He taught everything, right? You could be whatever you wanted there, right? He just because he understood like we need to be able to build the nation from the ground up, right? And then you had Marcus Garvey talking about like national directional things. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying you mix all that up, right? And you get a good salad right there. You get our talented tenths together, right? Recognizing like we have a response. Like let's say I'm part of the talented tenth, right? I'm not saying I am. I'm saying this for instance, right? Like let's say I'm part of the so-called talented, and we have a talented tenth in every direction. Understand that it's not just 10% of the population. It's 10% on a topic, right? Yep. So there's 10% of it. There might be a 10% that's fantastic at the agriculture, 10% on the politics, 10% on the banking, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? We all fit. We're all in the 10% somewhere, if that makes sense, right?
Oh yeah, go ahead, brother.
So wherever we the 10% that's good on the organization and the managerial skills, right? They need to link up with the people who are good on this tech industry stuff right now, right? And this is going to be interesting, right? Like ones who care about our people, right? Because now that's where it gets real interesting because if you're going to be in the tech industry and be our people, you got to walk a real fine line just to be able to excel in that industry. Do you know what I'm saying? So we got to find people who look like us, and we also got to find funding that's not going to put us in some crazy debt, like a self-funding mechanism to be able to make these institutions what we need to be able to make these social media platforms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I would suggest investing in actually building these platforms in West Africa because it's going to be cheaper than building them here, and like go like the Akon route. You know what I'm saying?
I would suggest that as someone, just people who we trust, who we can trust as well. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, and I'm not just saying us, but in general, people, they have their own personal motives when they are given access to these type of tools, these type of resources. You know what I'm saying? So we most definitely got to make sure the people who we're dealing with actually have a love for the love and want to see the uplift our people, or the image, or at least the imagery of our people to look a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I'm mixing the Garvey aspect with the national direction, right? Because he was like, nah, man, like Africa for Africans, et cetera. Like we got to make things look like us, walk like us, talk like us. And so like his Dreamliner concept, right? Like trying to have ships go back to Africa, right? I'm saying let's modernize that and make that like that's a social media platform. Like all he wanted to do is build a bridge back to Africa. That's social media right now.
Exactly. Now, what you just said, this is another thing. You mentioned Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Booker T. Washington. Now, I'm out here in California. I'm very familiar with those brothers. I have read and read information on those guys. Very familiar with the things they've done because in the household I was raised in, that was mandatory. Now, I was raised in Sacramento. I was raised in Sacramento, California. So it's not very common in the black community in Sacramento. When you bring up those names, do you know that majority of our people don't have a blue in the hell clue who those three individuals are?
Word. For real.
So if we're going to do that, like say if I decide there's a few brothers and sisters out in Sacramento and myself decide to go that direction, and mention what Garvey did and what the ideas that W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, the things that they have done. First, we're going to have to do some type of re-education or inform the people who these individuals were, because you have to know what it looks. You have to know what it looks like before you, or at least know somewhat of what these ideas look like before they manifest. You have to know the people who these individuals came before us, and they were successful in some ways, and they were not successful in other ways. So we have to know what was the positive things these brothers did, and what were the things of the mistakes they made. And then once we know what that is, then that'll help us go forward in a better direction because we're aware of the positive and the negatives of those that came before us. But there's plenty of people who I've come across who don't even know who Marcus Garvey is. Never heard of him. I know Marcus Garvey, that was a big thing on the especially in New York on the East Coast. That's big. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people on the East Coast, they know who Garvey is, they know what he stood for, and they knew what he was all about. You have some brothers and sisters on the West Coast where I'm at who may be aware, who are informed, but majority of the people who I am around, they don't even know who Garvey, they don't even know the dude, they never knew he existed. So now all of a sudden, for us who know about Garvey, who know about Booker T. Washington, who know about these various individuals, we have to we have to educate our people on who these people are, and then move forward in allowing their ideas to manifest. How would you go?
That's the hand you see. There's always a hand you see and a hand you don't see. You know what I'm saying? The hand we don't see,
exactly.
that's what I'm saying. Where people got to link it with the bad chats and be like, hey man, okay. So the ones that know that they're good at management, the ones that know that they're good at the tech or whatnot, they have to. So for instance, we're having this conversation on purpose, right?
Yep.
Because for us, these type of like this is our part of the talented 10th, right? So we're doing our part on that level, right? So I'm saying that the people who and this, I'm like, this is a call on all cars, right? I'm gonna try to do it as best I can to facilitate it, but it's not my game. I'm not a tech dude, right? I can do my best to facilitate, but it's not my game. We need y'all who know you're good at tech and love your people. We need y'all who are good at management and love your people and know you're good at management to coalesce and get together, right, and unify on what we're talking about. As a matter of fact, come holler at your people at Debate Talk for you. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to Sal. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to Sal Showtime right quick. You know what I'm saying? And we can reach out and have all kind of platforms. You can come on the social hub, right? And we can start talking about this concept. You know what I'm saying?
I got an idea that we can do like short term. You know, just start off now. I've been thinking about it. You know, kids get their hair cut. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't no idea that I came up on my own. I kind of saw something, and I just thought that it would work. Like if we did it globally, kids come to the barbershops to get their haircuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If we get certain people to donate some money to where they can get free haircuts, you know, and they can come at a certain specific time or a specific day, get the haircuts, and then while they're getting their haircuts, read books. Have them read books to you. You know, I saw that some other brothers doing this as well. You know, but I mean, I figured that if you doing free haircuts, then you could just designate a time when the kids can come, and then they can, you know, we could just get them to learn about it like that. You know, have a little positive little spot that they could, you know, be in, introduce them to other kids because, you know, older white man told me a long time ago when I talked to him. He said, when you go to college is okay with the books and everything, but the main thing you want to do is network, because while you're at college, you're going to be networking with like all these different people, you know, who's going to be in all these places, and then that's the main, you know, that's the main heaviest power of college is your networking capabilities, you know. Yep. So if they can come into these barbershops and network with each other, then you can build your unity. Then when they grow up, you know, they're not going, you know, you might not see them on the streets or, you know, have animosity toward them. And, oh, hey, you know, get each other, you know, basically just start from the ground up and then build out. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Adults are going to come too. If they can't afford haircuts, then yeah, they can get a haircut too. But it's mainly focusing on kids and then reacclimating them into a culture that we have lost our way of.
You could even make it specialized. Like one night for the kids, the evening you got the adults. You could even have seniors coming through, have like a senior night type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you could even make it real. And what I like about that concept is you can, because basically like for the donation aspect, you can literally go to any business and have them underwrite the loss for a donation, right? So let's say let's say we holler at Reese, right, and we turn this into like a national like a nonprofit concept, you know what I'm saying, to like for what you're talking about, like the educational part, where you can come to this public space or this private space that we own, or one of our people own, like a barbershop or a bookstore or a coffee shop, like wherever, because you can actually like make this cookie cutter and put it to any business, right? And as long as they're willing to, they operate by donating haircuts to the nonprofit, right? So they're underwriting their loss, right? So they actually get that back from the government, right? So they get paid for the haircut. You know what I'm saying? They just get it back. They get it back on their taxes. You know what I'm saying? but at the same point in time, they're donating the haircut to someone who needs it, right? And you're also getting you can have the nonprofit come through and just read, you know what I'm saying, or handle the book part, you know what I'm saying?
Wow, or at least share.
I know. Go ahead, BA.
No, I was going to say, or not necessarily. I mean, you don't have to necessarily read. I mean, there's other things you can do, like hand out information, leaflets, flyers.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You can make
have some motivation
anything at that juncture.
Exactly, have a motivational speaker.
Right. Or business owners come in and share their information. You know, give them, let them come visit them or whatever. It could grow them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that right there is part of the funding mechanism right there, because a lot of our people don't know as business people that they can actually underwrite a donation like that. They can underwrite the loss on a donation, and they can actually recoup that back on their taxes. You know what I'm saying? And so what's interesting about that is you can start using that tax refund to start funding what you want to start doing in that direction. You know what I'm saying? So that can, for instance, like let's say we want to do something with building like this whole tech company concept, or like some kind of our own social media, whatnot. Like, so we can start as a group saying, okay, what we're going to do is start donating the help that we need to each other, and actually get paid from the government to do so via donations and taxes and whatnot. And we're going to use that tax money we get back to actually fund, or at least a portion of it, to fund what we want to do going forward on this project X, Y, or Z. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for instance, this is where Marcus Garvey kind of had an issue when he was trying to fund what he was doing. Right, there was an issue with funding and whatnot, and how it was done and paying people back, et cetera, whatnot. So in terms, instead of going a particular route to where there's debt involved, this has no debt involved. This is all saved capital. You know what I'm saying? There's no debt involved. You're just and you're actually getting you're funding it all by helping your people.
Yeah, well, you could. To be honest, man, I don't even want to involve the government in it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't even mind coming out the pocket, and then having maybe so that the barber wouldn't even have to miss out on, too much. But then maybe he can match what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do a couple hundred or a few hundred, and then he matches that for that day. And then we could have it like one day out of the month or one day out of the week. And then the barbers would have incentive because they wouldn't really be, doing it, so to speak, for free. But then we'd all be pitching in, but the whole goal would just be for the kids, But, I don't even really think about like bringing in those the government, because then once you bring them in, and they can start telling you what how to start doing it and making suggestions. It just gets real.
No, I was
sticky,
talking
man.
specifically just on like the whole tax concept. But again, like not everyone wants to interface with the government. I can understand that, right? Like, sort of for the people who don't, as long as it's a group concept and people are like, hey, we're trying to help each other together. That's the base thing that I care about, right? I'll work from there.
I ran that by Rob Rack, because Rob Rack. Go ahead, sis.
I was just saying that the government is always involved. Even if you have barbers who are willing to take on that task and they're matching, they still have to have their books look right. They still have to. They should be able to count it off as charity. So, in that aspect of how the government is involved in how they keep account, because that's really they follow the money trail. That's how they keep account. That has to happen. However, how it's ran, not how the money is ran, because we know that we have to account for certain things. But I think that we need to educate our community on that as well. We want to do group economics. Do we understand how economics really work? Are we educating our children about that? Is that a part of any curriculum? And even though we want to keep the government out of stuff, we're giving our money. Well, we don't have a choice. Our money is being taken from the government. And so how do we recoup that, without involving them? How do we build funds, get grants and everything for what we want to do, because we're paying into a system that we're getting nothing out of. And so what I hear a lot of times when we have these plans is to let's just do our own thing. But we're leaving money on the table, money on the table that is not used for us. And so that happens in every institution, and education is being done that way too. I had a wonderful conversation with a black woman educator. Oh my gosh, she just, people call me Sister Soldier. They call her another revolutionary name. And we were just talking about our kids and how they're done and how there's advocacy needed in the community. And so while, we don't want the government to come in and say, oh, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. But we need to get our money. Our money is sitting there, and it's not being used for us. So, so we need to have the intellectual capability of developing programs and stuff, and we also need to have people who are skilled in getting those grants and getting those monies and funds back to the community.
That's powerful, Sister Sheek. I know here locally where I'm at, I'm in Marysville, California, and I know I'm a faithful client of the barbershop out here. And one thing that we do at the barbershop out in Marysville, or the one I currently I'm attending, we share books with each other. So that is one way that I can most definitely implement, or at least ask the brothers at the barbershop, let's implement this idea that we were just talking about just momentarily right now. And I most definitely will let you guys know how it goes if I can get that off the ground. Because we sit there every Friday. I get together with some brothers at the shop, and we're just sharing information and we're passing books to each other. And I'm like, well, if we can do that, we can most definitely get something going for the young men in the community where I live at. And I just wanted to say that. Right,
and right now, I don't know about everywhere else, but in Dallas, they're giving a lot of those, those old school like book things that you would get books off of. They're giving those away because they're not using them. Well, I mean, we can acquire those and put those in barbershop. That is going to be a write-off for them. So we need to understand how the system works to get what we need,
Right, because other communities navigate the system way better than we do, right? And for a lot of us, it's just because we don't have enough time to familiarize ourselves with the system, right? And so for the ones who do know it, like that's what I'm saying. Like it's time for everyone who's the talented tenth in each direction to kind of get together and kind of do their thing together a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
But there's also trauma built with us being involved in the system, which is why a lot of people say, get out the system. Like when we look at Freeman Bank,
right.
When we look at a lot of things, what's that lady? Oh, I can't remember her name. She's from Queens, and she was helping people get their credit right, but she was in the gray area, which most people who did not look like her were. And so she thought she could do it too, But she then shared her story. I'm going to look it up once I stop. But she shared her story about how to get the bag legally and the mistakes that she made. And she's basically showing you how to work through the system. But, hey, we can't do certain things. You need to know that. She went to jail for a long time. Missed her kids growing up and stuff because she decided to fight the system. They was trying to bring her down, and she was like, no, I'm going to fight this. And this is where you got to get a lot of your plea deals, and people read a plea deal and they'll say, oh, this is what this person did. Well, if you plead down to something, the only story that's going to be told is the other person's story. Your story is not going to be told because you're pleading, you're agreeing, to get better circumstances for yourself. And so a lot of people don't understand that. I mean, It's a lot going on. People are being railroaded, and we really need to understand the system a little bit better.
When it comes to the system,
let me just say this. I will say this, that people will rely on other people who are not in the system that can tell you better ways to get around it for information. And I see that all the times when education conversations are held, not on this platform, but on other platforms I've heard, education conversations being held, and there's a lot of assumption and wrong information getting out. Well, do you work in education? You know, and I could say for a fact, Umar Johnson, he's telling you a lot of factual things. And people are like, he raised $700,000. Why doesn't he start a school? Do you know the budget of a small elementary school? It's millions of dollars, you know. But we don't know that, and because not everybody is familiarized with somebody who may be in the system, we just, you know, make our own assumptions or do our own math. And we really need to have people who are in those systems be the forefront and be, like what Moore said, the talented 10th on the issue.
Right. To start out, like, okay, like, so you're in the system, like, you're a principal, right? I believe you said you're a principal. Yeah. Like, you work in education, something like that, right? Like, so I'll be like, okay, so do you, like, for instance, do you know any other black educators in Texas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Like, can we get them on a group call right quick and start asking them some questions, et cetera? You know what I'm saying? And start formulating something, right? Because y'all are already doing that field. You're there already. You know what I'm saying? You're already in the field. You're the people we need to get the info from. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
We just got.
Sal has done that. We had an education thing, and I had other black educators on there with me to go through how real estate is infiltrating our schools, how our kids are being overclassified for certain things, and what the process truly is. You know, those.
Sheek, sound like a segment for you.
Yeah. So, hey, so how about we do a show like this, right? So what you said was fantastic, right? Because I don't think a lot of people actually caught what you said when you said, like, do you know how much a budget is for a small? So you said a small school too, right? Like, because people don't even catch it. Like, so you talking about like a hole in the wall school where that gets no funding from the government school, right? It's still costing bank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you got to pay people.
So.
And it's mostly personnel.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
so we need
to
if you go to it's public information.
Say it again, Sal?
It's public information. It's public information. If you go to your state agency website, they have the budgets up there. You can go to your own neighborhood school and see how much they're paying people. Everybody who's in education, salary is public.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna ask you to do is team up with me for a future show that we're gonna do when we come back from the break, right? Because I think we each get to pick two topics. So one of my topics I want to do this. So if we're gonna start a school, what kind of funding do we realistically need to organize for an elementary school, for a daycare, a college, a high school, like the different levels? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would that actually look like?
And that information is out there, and because now a lot of public schools are starting to do that, so we can just look. We can just look,
right.
But people don't always know where to look. But I can do it through at least through my state. But everybody has the same thing. All the states are the same. They have the same. Pretty much that you have an education agency and they're monitoring everything through the education commissioner and everything. So, yeah.
Right. So when we're raising money for the funding, I'll send it right here. We go to the caller right quick. Like, so when we're asking for funding for something, right, we can actually ask for the right thing from the people. Like, hey, you know what? We need to raise X amount just to get the building. We need to raise X amount just to be able to secure supplies. We need to raise X amount just to be able to secure staff for a year. You know what I'm saying? Much less like for multiple years. You know what I'm saying?
And provide historical data to those facts. You know, people, a lot of times people just follow people blindly. Well, do you even know what it costs to do this? Have you looked into it? Do you know where to look? You know,
like the average cost of education for a child in this country is like $10,000 a kid in the public schools.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yes, it is.
And so if I was a hustler, you know, and I knew people didn't know about that, then I could say anything, you know. And so we can verify certain things. And even if you didn't know, you should ask. You know, how much do you think it's going to cost to fund this school for 1 year?
But see, here's the question, right? Here's the whole point. It's like, so who do I ask? Like, so I'm lucky enough to be able to talk to a sister who's a principal of a school in Texas, right? I'm lucky right now. I'm blessed right now. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone has that option, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, this is the whole, like, bring it back to the social media, right? Like, so If we look like other people, would that be the case? Are the algorithms written that way? Because when I see other people navigating social media, it's not like that. I got people from other nations hit me up like, oh man, did you see this? Blah blah blah. Like, no, man, like we're subscribed to the same stuff. How come I didn't get that? How come I didn't see what you got shown? How interesting.
Wow. Very interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not that people aren't asking. It's like, man, who can I ask? And that's what I'm saying. We got to use platforms like this to be able to as a root to grow a tree from, so the branches can go out in multiple different directions and whatnot. Do you know what I'm saying? Because like you were saying, you've already talked to educators, right? I want to talk to them like, okay, so if I want to actually do this, right? If I want to do the Booker T. Washington thing like that, if I want to build a Tuskegee Institute now, what does that look like realistically cost-wise? So I'm blessed to be able to talk to sisters like you, etc. for that. You know what I'm saying?
You know, that's powerful what you just said, Moore. That speaks volumes. It really does. Like, use platforms like Debate Talk for You to have this kind of, like right now, there's no telling who we're helping out, right? Just listening. You know what I'm saying? So it's very vital, and I thank Sal for coming up with the social hub, because now
100%.
we're stepping out the element of theology and different types of spiritual and religious beliefs, and we're actually having a conversation as men and women, or like I like to say, human beings. You know what I'm saying? Right. We're forgetting the beast-like mentality, and we're actually relating. Sister Sheek's a principal. I'm a labor organizer. Brother Moore, I don't know what you do for a living.
I'm a caretaker.
A caretaker. I think Brother Vinny, he's I'm not quite sure what he does for a living. I know he's a man. He provides. He's a worker. He works for his family. Things of that nature. So we all have these things in common. We're all parents. We all have children that go to school. This is what I'm talking about. If we're gonna so-called claim to be conscious, it goes way beyond the social media avatar. It actually is a way of life. It's how we walk daily. You know what I'm saying? And but anybody else want to say something real quick so we can go to the caller? I just want to say that real fast.
No, I'm good. We can go to the caller.
Okay, Brother Sal, let's tap in with that caller.
All right. Once again, the number is 319-527-6239. That's 319-527-6239. Call in, press number 1 if you want to chime in. Let's go to 647. You're live.
Good evening, brothers. I don't know what time it is where you are, but good conversation tonight. Good conversation.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, peace and greetings.
A couple things. I think that I agree with what you guys are saying. I think the talented 10 thing is a bit divisive, especially here in the East Coast. It's got a lot of history in it, and sometimes it can be divisive when you bring that up. So maybe we can come up with a different. Maybe we can come up with a different way to say that. Number 2, I mean, as far as schools and social media and that type of thing, I'm an engineer, and I think one of the things that we can do as engineers is we have to look at the end state before we start planning anything, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to start a social media platform, my question would be, for what? So what is it going to be used for? How does it tie into the community? What are the business requirements around that? Because I think one of the things that we have as people is that we don't think about the end state first.
Right.
We think about one thing and we have needs, and then we try to go towards those needs, right? So before you build a school, let's talk about what type of school. Not the building necessarily, but let's talk about what are the requirements. What's the curriculum going to be? What type of books, what type of knowledge are we trying to impart on kids that are young, kindergarten through 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade? What does that whole program look like? What exactly are we trying to do so that when kids run through this system, it has the desired output?
My man's talking about conceptual structural integrity. I like that.
Yeah, so I think with anything that we're talking about, I think there needs to be discussion on what does the end state look like. And we can just take it, and they're all connected, right? So, as Neely Fuller said, the areas of people activity, education, entertainment, economics, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. They're all connected, right? So when we talk about a school, what are we talking about? What do we want the kids to learn? When they're in kindergarten, what do we want them to know? By the time they graduate high school, what should they know? What are some of the things that they know? I mean, at that level, we figure out, then you can start figuring out, well, how many kids do you want to start with? When you go through all of that discovery, then you come up with, okay, what would it take to do this? So you don't think about the cost up front. We work out what the end state is going to be and what you're looking at, and then we back up. And then we can start talking about what are our requirements, what is it going to take. That's when you build your budget, right? As far as funding is concerned, like the brother was talking about the whole concept with the barbershop and the free haircuts, I think that's an excellent idea. Raising money just takes an organized effort. It doesn't really take much more than that. If you get thousands of people who can give $10, $20, $25, I mean that helps to fund the program, right? Are we going to do GoFundMe? Are we going to build another platform for fundraising? There's things that we
those are the questions, bro.
Well, so if we're talking about another platform for fundraising, I would propose, and I thought about this before I'm actually going to start building it next year, but I would propose project-based. One of the reasons why I don't give money is because of the percentages, how much actually goes towards funding the person or the cause that I'm trying to fund.
The platform
Very
itself,
little of it goes. There's no accounting. There's no transparency. You just don't know. You have no idea. Right. So, we could build a funding platform, something like GoFundMe, but that's project-based. That has full accounting and auditing. So if you go on there, you can see exactly how much money is there, how much money is going towards the goal. You can see the milestones. You can see all of that stuff, right? You can see receipts. You can see all of it, right? For people who, it's project-based, but, I'll digress from that. But I think it's a very good discussion. I just think that we need to, there needs to be a discussion on with a group of people say, okay, what does it look like in this final state? So if we're going to do the barbershop thing, what does it look like? We start with one barbershop. What are the materials going to be like? Is it going to be like a one-pager so the kids can read it easily and quickly, on each person, or let's say it's, Marcus Garvey or Booker T or whatever historical figure or facts. How's it going to be? Is it going to be a full book? Because they can't read a full book, depending on the book, of course, while they're sitting here before they get their haircut, right? So we're trying to impart some information over to them. So is it like a pamphlet type? Is it, you know what I mean? Like, just start discussing at that level, and once we figure out what it looks like.
Yeah, so if you're talking about kids, like for instance, like real quick, just to talk about touch on what you're talking about, like so on a previous episode of the Social Hub, I was talking about the construct of teaching our people, like our giving our kids from different aspects of West Africa, a rites of passage, understanding it, like an understanding of mythology, et cetera, whatnot, that they don't really get elsewhere, whatnot. So you're talking about like in a short time period where you're getting your haircut or whatnot, you could easily read short stories and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Easily read short stories from around West Africa, et cetera, whatnot, or African American stories. You know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff when you focus on the kids and whatnot.
Absolutely, and I think that's doable. So all these things are doable, but it's just going to take brothers like yourself and whoever else wants to be involved to say, okay,
and yourself, bro. We got to get your info and get you back on the show, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
I got your number, bro.
Right now, I'm in Toronto.
I got your number on the switchboard, so I'll just jot that down.
go ahead and do that.
My man talking about he's an engineer, talking about doing some product source, you know what I'm saying, or you know what I'm saying? We definitely got to holler, bro.
Everybody has a part to play, man. Everybody.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. You're not looking for just talent. What you're looking for is intention. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how.
Ooh, the intentional talent. I like that.
If you have the wrong intentions, then you're just not ready.
Agreed.
Can't be involved.
Agreed.
Right? I mean, the smartest cop is fine, but if his intentions are wrong, then people are going to be mistreated or worse.
So I want you to recognize what you just obligated yourself to. Like you're obligated to work with this now.
No, I'm fine. I'm working on so
like,
many different things. I will gladly give my time, to work on anything, and especially where I'm needed. I have a nonprofit here, where I'm living, just me and another guy he's a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
And we consult with people who are aspiring business owners, black people who are aspiring business owners, and people who are business owners that are looking to overcome a hurdle or a problem or an issue. And we do this for free. We get no money.
Business consulting, that's fantastic. Bro, we definitely need to link up. You see what I'm saying?
Where do you live at, bro? If you don't mind me asking.
Right now I'm in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right now I'm in Canada.
Hey, that's what's
up.
Legit international. What's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, right? So
you see, we get calls from Toronto, brother. Yeah, I hear that, right? We get calls.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Long Island, though. I'm originally from Long Island. I lived in Washington, D.C. As a matter of fact, when I was in D.C., I was part of the UNIA, which is actually still going on. And I actually met and spoke with Julius Garvey, who's Marcus Garvey's son. He's still alive.
Come on now.
He's in his 80s. So
man, if you don't leave your information with Sal, you know what I'm saying, I might have to hop a plane to Toronto, bro.
I got his number.
Don't make me do that. Don't make me do that.
What you guys are doing is key, and it's because this is what I'm looking for on social media. I'm not on social media really, even though I'm in technology. I'm not on social media. That's another story. But
you gotta have the time to do it. You know what I'm saying? I can dig it.
Yeah. So on YouTube, I was looking for just a group of people that just provide solutions. Okay, so we're talking about education. We're talking about a small school, whether it's here or if it's in Africa, which is really easy to do if you want to support a school in Africa. That was a little bit easier. But whatever we're talking about, just talking about solutions, right? Just focus on solutions. Building things like you brothers are talking about, building new platforms and all that, but just trying to figure out, okay, what is this supposed to look like in the end? What exactly is this supposed to look like? Our utopia, what does that look like? Then now we can back up and now we can start planning and start building towards that. That's one of the things I think is missing. Even if we talk about politics, you'll hear people say, what do we want? Oh, we want better education. What in the world does that mean?
Exactly.
That means absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a big
statement.
Right.
And we get played like that because now, if I'm a politician, I'm like, hey, brothers, you want better education? Okay, I'll get you better education. I'll get a few $1,000s here put into the school. Education is no better because we never came to them with actual requirements.
Right, yeah. Or just say you're running on better education and actually give a policy of what makes it better.
Yeah.
You just got to say, I'm for better education. Okay.
Yeah, what does that look like? Yeah, what does that look like?
Nobody knows what it looks like. Because if you ask somebody who says it, say, okay, so what does that look like as far as the curriculum? Then they'll say, well, I mean...
does it look like saying that our people were voluntary migrant workers coming over from Africa?
Right.
That's because I know that's going on.
Yeah.
I know the system in Texas is going with that right now.
It's one of those things, man, that we just got to get better at it. We got to get better at figuring out exactly what we want, right?
Right.
Just, you know, to the nth degree, and then now we can work towards it. Now we know what we're going to work towards. But we leave it vague. It's just, it goes around in circles, and everybody starts talking in circles. Nothing much gets done. You know, the requirements aren't refined, so, you know, one person saying one thing, somebody saying something else, you know, and that's kind of the way it goes, unfortunately, a lot of times. But, you know, in the technical space, I know that that's one of the things that's very key, you know, working out the requirements first, you know, working out the vision and the requirements. So this brother has a good vision for this program with the barbershop, you know. He has a good vision. You start with the vision, and then you work out the requirements. Mm-hmm. So, no, I think this is key what you guys are doing. I don't know if you understand how key it is. You know, I think other people need to get locked into this and maybe, you know, just start focusing on things that you guys are talking about a little bit more. Let's put some details. I don't know how much we can talk about some of the stuff over this, you know, over this platform, but I know we can talk about some of it.
Right.
And start putting down some details.
Mm-hmm.
So start putting some meat on his bone.
What's your name, brother? What's your name, man?
My name is Steve. Steve Agee.
Hey, yeah, but I think that'll be key, man, because, like, even if you don't read or have them read to you, you could have, like, people come in and just share their experiences with the work that they do. You know, because I found that, like, as a youngster coming up, one of the hardest things in life to do is figure out what you want to do. You know, it's like you have all this information out there, but not everybody knows, you know, or they're apt to being introduced to, like, a lot of these different occupations. And, you know, mostly everybody, you talk to somebody, they give you a vague answer like, oh, I got to go to school, I got to go to college and graduate. Yeah, well, what you want to do, though? You know? So that's the whole thing. And then you got people that get to college, and then they just continuously change their major, and then they just dig themselves in deeper debt. You know what I'm saying? It's like it seems like a racket to me. You know, I'm a lightweight conspiracy theorist, so it seems like a racket to me. But I think if we could just, you know, introduce these kids and they could get them to thinking about this stuff early, you know, when they get into that high school situation, when it's time to figure out which way they want to go, then it'll be just a whole lot easier. And then also, you know, you get some older people that come to the barbershop, maybe an uncle or some cousins or just somebody who wants to hang out. They can hear all this wealth of information too, and it might help them out as well. You know what I'm saying? So, it's barbershop is like one of the main hubs, man, for black communion. You know what I'm saying? And I think it would be wise just to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly, and I think you can mandate. I mean, if you're giving free haircuts for these kids and the parents are bringing them in, then they have to read it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they have to read it. You know, because they're getting a free haircut, right? So the requirements are you can get the free haircut, but you have to read this and maybe just fill out a 5, you know, questions in the back or something. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there is something very simple just to say you read it, right? You could do something like that, and I think that's should be fairly easy to do. I mean, I don't know your whole full plan, so I can't really say, but it sounds like something that's definitely doable. I will contribute. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'll contribute.
Yeah, it'll be good, man. But it'd be good, like if you know a barbershop in your area, maybe we could talk to them, you know, and then get them going.
And I think since you know one, I think since you talk about a barbershop where you are, and you're the one who, you know, you seem passionate about it, and you're the one who came up with it. Maybe we try it out with one. You know, we try it with one and, you know, refine it, and then try to, you know, expand.
Yeah. Yeah, I know one of my good friends he owns a shop, And then there's also a dude on social media that I ran it by, and he said he was willing. Rob Rack, if you listen to Rob Rack, shout out to Rob Rack. You know, I still got to get in contact with Rob, but
hey man, I holler at him. I got his number,
he's willing to do it. Yeah. He said he's willing to do it.
We're in the same debate league together, man. I holler at him.
Yep, definitely. So
I had no idea he was down for something like that, man. I'll definitely holler at him about it, man.
Well, let's stay in contact, bro. What's your name again, brother?
My name is Tyvon.
No, I know you. I know.
I was just double checking.
I know you, boy.
Because I'm still getting everything straight too much sometimes.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, but I'm gonna holler at you too, more. But the caller, brother, what's your name again?
Steve.
Yes. Stay in contact.
You have my number.
Definitely
you can always contact me, and I'll send you all my.
Yeah, I got the number.
Yeah,
I got his number. I'll share that with you guys. I'll share that with you guys behind the scenes, and I appreciate your call, Steve.
Hey, no problem. Keep up the good work, fellas.
All right, brother.
We'll talk again.
Have a good night, brother. Good talking to you.
You too, man.
Right. Yes, sir. Thank you for your support.
And more. Yeah, definitely more. We could do it. We could get it rolling, you know. Because it don't really even take much money. It just takes, you go in there with a couple $100, somebody match you, and then you got a book the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For the whole day. And then we just
don't let me tell
advertise
Rob.
it,
You can underwrite the donation, you know what I'm saying? Rob will get that.
Mm-hmm.
He's Rob Rack,
exactly.
a.k.a. Rob Stacks, you know what I'm saying? He's about his money.
Yeah.
I respect that about it.
Yeah, but he definitely said he was with it, man.
That's what's up, man.
I said for a few hours, shut it down for a few hours and just get free haircuts. He said let's do it for a whole day, So, he's definitely interested. So, and then I also
that's
got
what's
another
up too. Like, that's smart too, because like people like that, you know what I'm saying? Like when you think about like how much money you make in a day as a barbershop, like that's dope. That's dope. You talking about all the people that you employ, all the time. Nah, man. Like,
but to be honest, man, that's one of the most, that's a well-established black business. You talk to so many different black folks that come through there, different walks of life, different everything, man.
It's damn near a rite of passage in and of itself.
Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I was raised in a barbershop, man. I'm at the barbershop every Friday, man. I'm there every Friday, get me a lineup, get me a taper. So I'm already knowing, you know what I'm saying? And I've met a lot of people in life who are very close friends of mine at the barbershop. So believe me, I know it's a beautiful bond between black men. It is powerful. I've learned a lot from a lot of elders. I mean, books were handed to me at the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, I mean, I've passed around various literature, the 48 Laws of Power, the 33 Strategies of War, the Book of Mastery. I mean, I've handed various information, various literatures from different debates. I mean, I've shared various information. I've received various information from different Christian brothers, different Muslims, Moors. I mean, you name it. I have conversed with various different ideologies and beliefs at the barbershop, and they've always been positive. Always have been.
Yeah. That barbershop, man, that's a main hub, man. That's a hub.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah, that's almost the OG social media first anyway, you know what I'm saying? The barbershop in a sense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, just to let you know, Sheek had to go, so it's only yourself, Orthodox Moor, and Vinny here. But we still got a lot of people listening to the program. Again, if you have any comments, the number is 319-527-6239. Simply press number 1, and you can chime in. Other than that, you can continue, guys.
Okay, brothers, so we can continue to keep it going. Is any more things you would like to share, or we can dang near close it up and call it a night, whichever however you would like to go, whichever however you like.
Nah, I pretty much said everything on my mind about it.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good spot to end it on, man. Is just that the social media consciousness is good, but it's better if we add action to what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I can 100% say for sure that me, myself, I probably would have never, ever been introduced to the walk of life that I'm currently in if it had not been for social media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I could definitely be an attest to it that all the talk is good because it gets us talking in something positive. But the better thing that would have to be done is if we just add action to what we're talking about. And just like you say, BA, action, action, action. And just like the point that the sister Reese brought up, we got to get rid of this negative mind state of this negative competition, you know, because that's not even our culture, man. We're a communal people by culture, and all of a sudden we've turned into like these competition hungry. I gotta be the best at this, you know, at that, instead of, you know, being one body, you know, and one person is a toe, one person is an arm. You know, everybody trying to be the arm. We can swing good, but then when it's time to walk, man, we ain't got no feet or no toes to walk. So we got to balance out the body, man. You know, and then we just got to shake this negative competition mind state that we got, and that's I'll yield on that.
Yeah, BA, we got a caller standing by, but someone is also asking about a good consciousness community and a bad consciousness community. Is that real or fake? A good somebody's asking that on social media. You want to answer that real quick? Is there a good conscious community and a bad conscious community, or is it all the same?
I think it's two halves of the same coin, personally.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It depends. That person would have to be more specific. That's kind of a what's the term? That's very broad. They would have to be more specific as far as what is good and what is bad. I mean, like, give us some examples. That's what I would say, in more depth, to deal with that question.
All right, so yeah, social media. If you give me some more clarity on what you mean, I can read it out live. But let's go to the caller. Let's go to 864. You're live.
What's going on? What's going on, family?
What's going on?
What's up, man? How you living?
All right, I think I had fell off. But like I said, I think I spoke earlier, and I can recall people like Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing. I recall hearing people like, Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. John Henrik Clark, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And even though, this brother was a Muslim, and again, like I said, I'm not affiliated with any religion in particular, but my heart resonated when this brother, spoke the words. And I think just to kind of hit on the question that the person just asked, the conscious community has been one I've been able to learn from, and also I've engaged in some arguing, doing some ratchet stuff. It is all having to do with the development of your character. This is the most important thing if you go into a church, if you're a Buddhist, if you're a Hindu, if you're a Muslim, whatever it is that you're dealing in and with a system that you can constantly take evaluation of yourself, how you're treating yourself. This is what consciousness really is. To heck with going to your job and being successful and being the number one employee on your job, but then you're failing when it comes down to, being a man around the house. You understand? Yeah. I think you should definitely be successful in the primary and then pride yourself at doing great in the secondary. But, I don't think we should be doing it the other way in. But like I said, in the conscious community, it has been a whole lot of ratchetness, just like in the church. I went to church. I witnessed people slap one another in church meetings. This is just a reality. And when we're saying what we as black, as African people, and in my level of consciousness, when I got outside the Bible, I looked at the Kabbalion. I got to be introduced to the tree of life. I'm pretty sure some of you guys are familiar with that, and where you see the chakra system basically being a part of the tree of life. And what you start to see inside certain knowledges, certain sciences, is that we are created upon various components of the Creator. Just like the Creator has a funny side, the Creator has a very not funny side, a more serious side. And we have access to these things as we are of the Creator's lineage, right? So
are you talking about Are you referring to the Kabbalah?
Yeah, right.
The mystics. The mystic writings.
Right. The tree of life, and I brought that up as it relates to us being able to look at ourselves. You understand? Because a lot of times we want to do things more outside of ourselves and being successful rather than going on the inside, working on the inside. This is a lot of times when you're looking at a lot of the spiritual stories, even in the Bible, a lot of these religious books, it is talking about working on your inner man. Even going back to Kemet or Egypt, these weren't real stories. These were myths only to remind us who we were. So when we came up against adversity, we were to look at ourselves as even in the David and Goliath story, because I'm pretty sure more are more familiar with that. So you're supposed to look at yourself as a victor when it comes down to being in the face of adversity or, evil. You understand? And I think that playing these things out in our minds, if we started to do that and replace what our children are playing in their minds, I can be a dope dealer, I can be a trick, I can be a thought, I can, even though this is not in their nature, but by the repetitive mantra, by them saying that they are these things, they are affirming, and then before you know it, they are or they're becoming these things. And this is a reality when we understand how to program our being, how to program ourselves in order to be successful. If you're in the conscious community, if you're not in the conscious, if you're in the religious community, I think it's just a thing of utmost importance that we are, rising to the occasion of protecting our quality of life, and the same for our brothers and sisters around us in our family and our community. But I think we have been dealing with certain things, even in the conscious community, in a hateful manner. So rather than bringing food, bringing love to one another, we are utilizing the social, and we know our social, the place where we are socially is actually brought to us by capitalism, right? So it is the one that says, well, hey, I'm good that I have this. I got these new shades, and you're not anything because you don't. This is the constant thing that they're, well, hey, I got all the likes because I took off my clothes and and you aren't. And it's the same thing even in the conscious community. Hey, I made this dude look bad. So rather than saying, hey, let's reason together, it's about, hey, I just want to make him look bad. I just want to, and I think things get lost in the sauce whenever we're dealing with that damaged, detrimental ego.
Yeah, I agree, brother. I see more degrading and wanting to humiliate somebody other than wanting to correct and edify and love. And it's crazy because everybody claims to love somebody, and I love you, you're my brother, and I want to help you, but at the same time, you'll do anything in the world to you'll do verbal overkill just to gain some type of advantage. And it's a shame that we have. It has to come to that because I've done it myself, and I have to always look within myself and correct myself as well. And that it shouldn't come down to that. And it's unfortunate that gets all the views, and this kind of conversation we're having today doesn't get the views. That's what's very disheartening to me at times. But brother, we thank you for your words. We appreciate you. And please don't forget to reach out to me. I'm B.A. Ben Abraham, because I will most definitely like to build with you behind the scenes. And hopefully we can get you on the Man Up segment and bring out some more of the knowledge that you have shared this evening. I find that you brought out some interesting points, brother, and I appreciate you. Most definitely I do.
Thank you, brother. Absolutely.
Most definitely. Have yourself a good
Peace,
night,
bro. Peace, brother.
Peace. You guys do the same.
Man.
That was good. Did that social media question ever get back to you, Sal? Probably not, huh?
Yeah, probably not. But Sal,
yeah,
if you're still...
Yeah, we got another caller actually standing by. Whenever you're ready, we got another caller.
Okay, let's tap in real quick. All right, the next caller.
All right, let's go to the next person. 919, you're live. (919), you're on the air. 919, are you there? All right, 919, going once, going twice. All right, we're gonna move on. All right, nobody else is pressing number one at this time. We definitely appreciate everybody on social media that's checking out the program. Like I said, we got people all across the globe that's checking out the show. We appreciate you guys. By the way, just a quick plug, we're going to have Dr. Michael Brown here this Wednesday in the hot seat on Debate Talk Radio. So make sure you call in with your questions and your comments. He's going to be here for 60 minutes, and he said how it goes, he may stay a little while longer. So this is your one and only opportunity to speak to him directly. Call in 319-527-6239. It's a quick plug. Continue, fellas.
Dr. Michael Brown. That's nice. And let me just say this. Sal, I tell Sal this all the time. When you are able to bring in a guy of that caliber, Dr. Michael Brown, onto your platform, and to have him come and engage and share information and expound with other people or with other individuals in this community, that speaks volumes. And it just shows how Debate Talk for You, and this is not to boast, and this is not to point out that Debate Talk for You is just killing everybody else. That's not what it is. It just shows that when people of that caliber, of that pedigree, and Dr. Michael Brown has agreed to come on to Debate Talk for You, that tells me that he himself as an individual has taken the time to listen to Debate Talk for You, and there's something here that he would like to share with us and bring to the table. And that also tells me that he's actually has paid attention, he's listening, and he has an interest. So, and guys like that, when you get an opportunity to bring them on to the platform such as this, you want to make it well worth it, and we would love for him to come back and continue to expound and share, because it's all about growing. It's about human beings communicating. And with that, man, Sal, bro, I'm gonna tell you this right now. To have Michael Brown come to this platform, it tells me all I need to know about Debate Talk for You, and I'm done, man.
No doubt, you're right, man. I think the body of work has, speaks for itself. And like you said, the brother's not going to come on the platform without doing some research on me and what the platform entails. So for him to come on, definitely step up for the platform. So I'm looking forward to it.
Most
yes, sir. I know I got at least one or two respectful questions for the good doctor.
Yeah, me too, myself. I mean, I've been listening to his work for the last couple of years, man, and I appreciate his love and zeal for the Messiah, most definitely. But with that being said, we can get ready to close out so we can have Brother Moore and Brother Vinny guys say closing statements, and we'll just go from there.
All right. Mine will be short. Thanks, Sal, B.A., Brother B.A., powerful topic, man. It opened up a lot of conversations, and hopefully it's going to lead to some strong networks and some positive things. Brother Moore, Always a blessing to share on the panel with you. Sister Zsa Zsa, Sister Reese, Sister Jennifer, and Brother Moses, man. Hope you out there having a good time, man, and being safe. Come back with some stories, bro. And peace to the panel and the listeners. Thanks to all the callers. And shalom. And that's it.
Thank you, Brother. Yeah, we appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, always, every time. Shout out to Sal. Shout out to all the listeners. Shout out to all the callers, and shout out to everybody on the panel. Man, I appreciate being with y'all every time, man. My apologies for being late, like I said, but being with y'all is like church for me, man. We got some good building going every time we come through. This is a good little social hub, man. I like how we build around here. You know what I'm saying? And again, shout out to Sal for the type of integrity he keeps going on his platform and whatnot. You see that with people like Dr. Michael Brown coming through. Because they can come through and it doesn't compromise their integrity. That's why I say like Sal's like a national treasure and whatnot. And this is a decade of debates and whatnot. And we really need to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like and support your boy for that. Like shout out to Sal, salute to Sal, shout out to the platform. Appreciate y'all. Peace and love.
Well, thank you, Brother Moore. Appreciate you, Brother Moore, man. Thank you for your words. And with that being said, I thank Sal for allowing me to come onto the Social Hub. I was humbled when he asked me to be a guest every so often to chime in. I was just like, I was amazed to be on the platform with Brother Vinny and Sister Reese and Brother Moore. I mean, I consider these people to be heavyweights. I'm just a simple laborer. I just labor and I just speak to people and convince them to look out for their rights. That's all I do. I'm nobody important. So I would just like to say I hope that this conversation was edifying and it helps those who are living the struggle. Long live the struggle. And much love to all human beings under the sun. And with that being said, I'm going to fall back, Sal. Take it away.
Help keep the show on the air. If you want to help, you can send your donation through PayPal. The email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com or through Cash App, $Sal Showtime. Thanks for your support.